Welcome to our first Voices of Change Leading Education Forward interview series. It's a pleasure that I'm joined by Dr. Paul Teys. Paul has a distinguished career spanning over 4 decades. Dr. Paul is a legend in the educational sphere. His journey of 36 years in middle and executive leadership roles, crowned by 24 transformative years as a principal across schools in 3 states, has shaped the educational experience of countless learners and educators. Paul's profound impact stems from his deep commitment to excellence in leadership and his commitment to fostering the growth and success of schools, principals, and importantly, their teams. Paul is also the author of 2 books, So You Want to Be a Principal, and just launched very recently, Now You Are a Principal. It's my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Paul Teys to our leadership series.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. Thank you very much for the generous welcome.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
love having you here, Paul. Paul, let's just start off by who or what inspired your leadership journey.
Yes, that's a pretty easy question to answer. It was my first high school principal, George Cominos, when I was in year 11 and 12 at Clifton High School and on the Darling Downs in Queensland. And then my first principal when I was employed as a teacher, the late Alan Farragher at Fairholme College in Toowoomba. Both inspired me by their affable nature, their really engaging personality, a problem-solving ability. Nothing was too difficult for either of them. Whatever the challenge was, they seemed to find an answer. They both exemplified purpose and resilience, and they had the happy knack of seeing the positive in things. So they've influenced me because I try to create spaces where individuals feel valued and motivated to do their very best.
Yeah, that's awesome, Paul. It's fantastic when we've got those tangible people that shape us. Fantastic. Dr. Paul, can you share a challenge you've faced as a leader and maybe how you've overcome that?
I'll pick something that I think, while it's really challenging for principals, it's all too common in schools. And the most profound challenge I faced as a leader involved supporting a family in our school community through the tragic loss of a young primary school student. The student had fallen gravely ill at school and required immediate, urgent, emergent medical attention. And despite every effort, they passed away a few days later. So that heartbreaking event touched everyone deeply, students, staff and families. In terms of leadership lessons through that, it was essential to provide steady and compassionate leadership. I prioritised clear and sensitive communications, working closely with the family and the school community to honour the students' memory and support those who were affected. And you could imagine this is a year 3 student, so there was lots and lots of people grieving. I facilitated counselling, open safe spaces. So I suppose without being too long in my response, Michael, although the loss was irreplaceable, it was the shared resilience and care that we built during this time which became a lasting strength within our school community. So care ethic as a leader became a most important priority for me as a principal.
Yeah, Paul, and that sort of speaks to the values or principles that guide your approach to leadership. Can you go into some other principles that you feel are very important in this space?
Yeah, thank you. Look, the foundations of my leadership is a deep respect for every person's contribution that they can make, staff, students, family, board, and community members. Empathy. I think empathetic leadership is a really important trait or attribute of current generation of principals. And integrity, which really, to the core of integrity, is actually, doing what you say you're going to do, seeing it through and holding true to your word. Those values, for my leadership, they remain consistent, and I try to always promote an ethic approach and an inclusive approach, particularly where students were concerned, because I'd like school principals to not ever underestimate the influence that they have on the students in their school, often overlooked. but it's really powerful, the transformational nature of your leadership as a principal when it comes to the young minds that you're caring for.
You touched on some values there in terms of your own leadership, and what's the importance of those values, I guess, and how that might relate to the mission of either your school or your own sort of personal values?
Yeah, thanks. And I'll take this opportunity to take something from book number 2, Michael.
I'm
They
waiting.
look, values and mission, they just provide a compass for both daily decisions and long-term goals. They keep us anchored, they keep us grounded, especially in times of uncertainty. And also, strong value set and a mission fosters a culture of purpose in your school community. And that's what, I always welcome the feedback I got from my staff is that my leadership did provide purpose and clarity and direction and belief and confidence. So trust is a very important factor, shared responsibility, and then passion for excellence within your team. So that's why I think values are really important as a compass.
Yeah, Paul.
And sorry, Mike, I was going to say, and so it's from that you actually lead. What I encourage all principals and executive leaders to do is actually lead, because that's what their school communities expect of them.
Yeah, I appreciate the analogy of a compass. And, it's a bit of a cliche to say that times have changed from 10 or 20 years ago. We're always changing. In terms of maybe a principal, what is the profile of that successful school leader maybe in the next 5 years or so? How do you see that sort of being framed up given the context of, society and our world?
Yeah, great question. I think the principle of the future must be, and now, must be really adaptable and visionary and culturally astute. And that's the new, if you like, working model for principals is their cultural intelligence and awareness. Principals need to balance academic rigour with a commitment to the well-being of staff and students, embracing diversity and equity in all of their aspects of leadership, particularly communication. The next generation have got to be technologically savvy and environmentally conscious. They're interesting, almost polar opposites in some cases. I wish I was more technologically savvy through the early parts of my career, but that's important. And finally, Michael, they must give their attention to their people and their relationships.
Yeah, important. I really appreciate those. And final question, Paul, if you could distill your leadership experience into one piece of advice, that's very difficult to do sometimes, but what would you want others to take away and know about from today's conversation?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. This is not one piece, it's sort of a package of advice, but I'll try and be brief. Lead with purpose and compassion. You would have picked that up in my responses already. Empower others by seeing beyond titles and tasks, focusing on people's potential is important. And then when you lead from a place of genuine care and clear vision, you build trust, inspire action, and you create a legacy that extends far beyond your tenure.
Dr. Paul Teys, it's been fantastic having you on this morning. I've learned a lot and there's a lot to take away from this. Thank you very much again for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. I'm grateful that you've given me the opportunity.